I am, oh, now we're recording. If everyone wants to check, click saying they're cool being recorded. Okay, so I am the chair of this committee and we'll call to order at 6:31.
Dorit, would you like me to post your agenda, share your agenda, or are you able to do it?
Does everyone have a copy of the agenda, or do you guys want to see it up on the screen? It's not going to hurt to put up on the screen. Put up on the screen for a moment, if you could, Laura.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I offered
Thank you
before I had it, so let me have it up somewhere soon. Sorry. Interesting.
So we have to approve the agenda before we can move on. So
yes, I apologize because there it is.
We can't see it yet, Laura. Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
And let me just shrink it down a tiny bit so you can see the whole thing. There you go. Can you see that?
Yes. Okay, if everyone would take a second or two or a minute or two to look at the agenda, and then we will have a motion to approve it and then to second it.
I hear somebody's little one.
That's my little one. I'm so sorry. I thought I was muted.
All is good.
It's okay.
All right. Does anyone have any issues with the agenda?
No.
If not, can I have a motion to approve, please?
I motion to approve.
And that was you, Linda?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I second, Lizzie.
Thank you, Lizzie. If anyone has any objections, speak up. Otherwise, we'll assume it's approved. Okay, no one has an objection. Laura, could you remove the agenda, please? Pretty please. Thank you.
There you go.
All right, so we have 4, 8, 12. We have 13 people tonight. If we could do introductions, and I'm going to call on people based on how I see you on my screen. So, Laura, you're first.
Hi, everybody. I'm Laura Myers. I live in Angeles Vista, which is the area north of Washington and west of Western. I'm the president of UNNC, and I'm your Zoom host tonight.
I might pronounce this name wrong. Sorry. DENISJ. The screen name there, is that, if you could just introduce yourself? You're muted, sweetie.
Yes, Denise, D-E-N-I-S-E, Denise.
Thank you, Denise.
I'm Denise Jackson. I'm in Arlington Heights. I am a member of the Arlington Heights Neighborhood Association.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for coming to tonight's meeting. Kimberly?
Yes, my name is Kimberly Simonet, and I'm with the Department of Recreation and Parks, and I am the acting principal recreation supervisor over the PAB boards.
Thank you. Sharon?
Sharon Ishihara, Metro Region Central District Supervisor.
Miss Lizzie?
Sorry about that. Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Lizzie Moromisato. I live in Jefferson Park, east of Arlington, and I'm currently chair of the Outreach Committee. Nice seeing you.
Outreach of UNNC. Miss Sandra?
Hi, my name is Sandra Pruitt. I'm a resident of Jefferson Park. I'm an ex-member of the board, and I was the chairperson that organized the Parks and Recreation Committee. I also did the safety meeting in Jefferson Park. I was also the secretary on the UNNC board. So,
Miss Sandra, I'm going to take a second to ask you if you could ever send me some, like, your notes from when you were the chair of the committee, that'd be super duper great, because I'd love to add that into the committee's accomplishments. All right. I'm going to pronounce your name wrong, and I'm so sorry. Chinyere. I know I've met you a couple times, and I should have it down by now. My apologies.
No worries. Shinnery Stoneham, Acting Principal Recreation Supervisor 2 for the Metro Region.
Thank you so much. Miss Linda?
Yes, Linda Fisher, Supervisor for Recreation and Parks.
Beautiful. Michael?
Hi, Dorit. Hello, everyone. My first meeting, I sit on the avenues in UNNC, and I have some thoughts about Parks and Recreation that I will share in the future, but I wanted to sit in and understand the way that this committee works so that I would be better informed for what I want to talk about possibly in a future meeting.
Beautiful. Thank you for coming, Michael. Is that Kristen? Roderick?
Riddick.
Oh, sorry.
Hi. That's okay. I'm Kristen Riddick. I live in Jefferson Park on the west side of Arlington. And I just do a lot of things in our neighborhood. And so I'm a volunteer for Parks and Rec because I was complaining about Leslie Shaw a lot back in the day. And so I asked what I could do, and they said, well, you can volunteer. And so I went through the whole process of actually, getting to be a quote unquote official volunteer, and had to go get fingerprinted and all that stuff. So I just have some comments about Leslie Shaw and my sort of experience in the last, 8 years that I've been here, I guess. And but I am trying to put my kid to bed too, so I'll be coming in and out. So if I don't answer, if something is, if it's that time for open comments, I will eventually jump back in, but I'll be coming in and out.
Enjoy. Thank you. I'm going to pronounce this wrong. O'Malley, the first name I'm not going to try, but the last name is O'Malley.
Yeah. Hi, it's Kim.
Oh, Kim.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's Kim. I know. I don't think you've ever seen it spelled before.
No.
Right, so it's fine. I'm Kim O'Malley. I live in Jefferson Park. I serve on the HPOZ board for Jefferson Park. And Lizzie just said, hey, the Parks Department is having a meeting, and I was interested to know more about Leslie Shaw and what any plans would be for that park. My kids call it the Storybook Park because they like to climb up the tower. Yeah.
Beautiful. Miss Donna.
Yes.
Hi, introduce yourself.
Donna Jones. I'm from West Adams Avenues. Nice to meet everyone.
Thank you. Melissa?
Hi, Dorit.
Hey there.
Hi, it's Melissa Bettis with City of LA.
With Rec and Parks. Might pronounce this wrong, and I apologize. Kylie, Miss Roberts? Kylie
Yes,
Roberts?
that's correct, Kylie.
Oh.
I'm feeding my little one, so I'm off camera right now. There's a lot of chaos here with 2 kiddos, but I am Kylie Roberts. I live in Jefferson Park, and I don't really do anything officially, but I was invited to come to the meeting based on some questions that I had about the Leslie Shaw Park as well.
Beautiful. And then there's the phone number ending 3849. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, so my name is Tim Benitez. I live in the Arlington Heights area by the park that they're currently building behind that school. Well, not a school, the library off of Washington and 12th. So I live down the street from there.
Could you say your name again a little bit slower, please?
Tim Benitez.
Tim, okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to start off with a lot of housekeeping. Oh, public comments on non-agenda items. Miss Sandra.
Okay, hi. So I'm glad to be here. It's been a while since we, had any time and did anything outside. So welcome to everybody. I just want to give everybody a little background on Sandra Pruitt. I moved here in 2008, and 8 months after moving here, my son Jarrell was murdered. That gave me a passion and concern for this area like no place else. It was a drive-by, and no, my son was not involved in anything, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I was a preschool teacher at the time, and I stopped doing that because of trauma, and I became a home daycare provider. So oftentimes, through the time I was doing daycare, I always took the kids to the park. Leslie Shaw Park looked nothing like it looks now. It had been 40 years since it had been renovated. The neighbors in our area got together because I gathered people together out of my concern for my son and what was going on. And so we met for 3 years. Norman Gilmore was on the board, as well as some of the residents, Heidi Rudd from 2nd Avenue. We met for 3 years to have that park renovated. Everything about that park was handled by the community. We worked together. I feel that, going forward, we should continue to work together and have community events that bring family and friends and neighbors together, because our community has changed a lot. Our neighborhood is changing a lot. Jefferson Park is the largest footprint, I believe, in UNNC. We are the fastest growing. Our families are changing. The look and the demographics is changing. And I feel that it's important that we keep, getting together. So I just want to jump in real quick and say, I don't know how long it's going to go, but the things that I would like to go forward with in the meantime, I created my own nonprofit, Sons Matter, hence the reason, Sons Matter. And the things that I did in Jefferson Park, I would like to continue under the Sons Manor. And so coming up August the 10th, the second Tuesday in August is National Night Out. We really couldn't go forward with that at the time in the park because we weren't sure when it was going to be open. Now, if the park is open, I would like to push forward. It just so happens that I was at the Juneteenth celebration in Leimert Park, where I was able to talk to Mark Lee Thomas's office, as well as our senior lead for this area, as well as Raul, who was working with us, who worked with me previously on getting Leslie Shaw Park renovated. So we're talking about, coming together and making this an event. And also I want to do the toy drive. And also for Black History Month, Leslie Shaw was the first African-American Black man named Postmaster General by Kennedy, John F. Kennedy. That's very important. Black History Month is important. And in Black History Month, I would like us to have a day and call it the Leslie and Shaw Senior Day in the park. And all the people that were on the board, the Black people that were on the board that worked really hard to, maintain Leslie Shaw, the area, Jefferson Park. We'd like to include them in the Leslie Shaw Park Day. I think it's important now we keep reaching out. We don't become exclusive about the park. Like I said, it was 40 years. That's 40 years. That park looked terrible. The trees are not going to grow, even if you put some new trees in right now. Everything about that park, the community decided where we wanted to be, what we wanted to be there. The vegetation was supposed to be for the butterflies. So we took our time. It took us a long time to get it to where it is now. So in moving forward, I want us to remember that it was a long struggle for us, and let's keep working together and not be inclusive of all the people that still live here, that were here before the change came, and we're working really hard to make a difference.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing all that, Miss Sandra. I really appreciate that. Miss Denise?
Okay, hello everyone. As I mentioned, I am, in addition to being an ex-UNNC member, currently on the board of the Arlington Heights Neighborhood Association. And one of the things that we have been working with, or at least emailing back and forth with Council District 10, Danielle Merrill specifically, that I haven't been able to get a satisfactory answer on, and that is the construction of Washington Irving Pocket Park. The Washington Irving Pocket Park was planned before Wesson left office. It was supposed to have started and hopefully completed by November before he left, and it did not. I did start inquiring with CD10 back in January about the work, when it was going to be started. I think that persuaded them to at least get it started. Rex and Parks came out, they totally destroyed the park. They put a fence around it, and they have not been back since. And it's been like that in this disarray for going on 3 months now. I have called and emailed Kamani Black, Daniel Merrill of CD10, and all I can get out of them is that they can't get from Rex and Parks why or when the construction is going to start. So I'm asking the UNNC Parks and Recs Board to get behind us on this and to get this park up and running and get them back over there to finish the park. The design was approved before Wesson left office. They have the design. I don't know why they can't get a straight answer. The council office can't get a straight answer from Recs and Parks as to when they're going to bring the crews back to finish that work. And we should not have to live with it like this for all summer long. We have kids in the neighborhood who would love to have it.
No, especially now that libraries are open. I know we're not supposed to answer questions during public comment stuff, but is there anyone from Rec and Parks who could give us an idea of who we could contact about this park? It's on
Washington and 12th.
Washington and 12th.
Yes, thanks.
I'd like to interject. This is Kimberly Simone.
Mm-hmm.
And I can check with construction tomorrow and I can get back to you to find out what's going on regarding the park.
That would be very helpful, Kimberly. Can I put my email in the chat for you? Or do you want to get back with the red? Okay.
I don't know if you can. I don't know if maybe you have to give it to Laura and Laura can put on the thing. Laura, you're muted, sweetie.
I can do it. I think so. And let me do it.
I'm guessing that at the moment everyone can chat.
Good.
I would ask that you don't, but the Zoom protocols have changed, keep changing, and I'm trying to get the security back on that allows us to have host chat, but not private. So I would ask that if please don't have private comments to each other in chat, but thank you, Denise. And I'm gonna also post Kimberly's email.
Oh, that'd be great. Well, I guess the city.
Denise, thank you so much for bringing that up. And Kim, really, thank you so much for agreeing to look into it.
No problem.
All right. Does anyone else have public comment, please?
Oh, I would just also like to say, Sandra.
One more time, sweetie. What did you say, Sandra?
I'm sorry, someone else wanted to interject. I'll let somebody else go first.
Sorry for interrupting, but it's a good thing that something's being, well, hopefully it gets checked on the park, because there's a lot of activity that goes on at night because the park is in the way that it is. Because I've seen people, random cars just come and park over there because it's pretty much, there's nothing going on.
What park? The same one, the
park right
Washington
there,
Irving one.
The Irving, yeah, the Irving. So we got cars parking there at night doing things, or there's a guy who lives out of a van. I'm not sure what exactly he be doing, but that guy be popping in and out in the middle of the night.
Well, luckily, Kimberly's gonna look into this, and maybe Denise, if you could share the information you get from Kimberly with this group, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Does anyone else have any public comment?
Oh, yes, I would also like to have support, since we're almost moving into August, from the UNNC board in regards to volunteers that would possibly help out with the movies in the park. It's going to be movies in the park for the National Night Out, which is to bring the community and the LAPD together.
Could I suggest you come to our UNNC meeting? Laura's hand's up. She's probably going to tell you when the date is.
Right. Well, I'd like to ask Sandra, you had said it was August 5, but isn't it the first Tuesday?
It's the second Tuesday in the month, which is August the 10th.
August the 10th. Okay.
That's what I said.
So not the night of our board meeting, which is the 5th. Okay. Yeah, the next executive committee is July 20, and the next UNNC board meeting is August 5. There's actually a board meeting next Tuesday, the 29th. If you're talking about funding, we can't do funding right this second. We can't fund anything for the next fiscal year until the next fiscal year. So is somebody else funding the movies? Is that already handled? I know
it's almost 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So I'm gonna let Michael go, and then I've got a public comment, but Michael, what's your public comment?
No public comment, just a question. Dorit, would you post your email address in the chat space?
I'll do that for you, Dorit.
Yeah, it's my UNNC email address.
Yeah,
I'll post
Thank
that
you.
while you're running the meeting.
So my public comment is in August. UNNC committees elections will happen. If you're interested in being a chair or co-chair of any of our committees, please come to the August meeting to put your name in the hat. I am really a lousy co-chair when it comes to this meeting because I cannot use Google Docs. So if anyone wants to be the chair or co-chair of this committee, I'm more than happy to be a co-chair with somebody, or if somebody wants to have it, they're welcome to it as well. I will still always be on this committee because I raised my kid in the park and in the parks, and I will always be here. But just letting everyone know, there is elections coming up in August that's August 5th meeting for chairs and co-chairs of all UNNC committees, not just this one. So if you want to be a chair or co-chair, Donna, I'm looking at you. Please consider it. And I only say that because Donna's like my hero, completely my hero.
It's nice to have someone who thinks of me as a hero. I have a lot of others who think of other things when they think about me. But actually, I'm here to work with Potter Park. You know that, but I supported and I found the people who will do the right thing, the things that we need. And you see how that has worked out. And I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled. And I'll back anybody who needs help with anything. Everyone
sure will.
So there you go.
I'd like to put approval of the minutes last because I'm very aware that it's almost 7 o'clock and our our Park Advisory Board presentation is supposed to happen at 7, and I want to let the Rec and Parks people be able to go home after they finish theirs. So if no one objects, I'm putting reading of the approval of the last 2 months minutes at the end. If anyone has an objection, just holler. Cool, doesn't look like anyone does. Let's talk about Shaw Park because a lot of people here are about Shaw Park. We've done some outreach and trying to narrow down exactly who is supposed to be in charge of it. For anyone who doesn't know, rec center, all parks belong to a rec center. And if I'm getting this wrong, Rec and Parks people chime in. Shaw Park doesn't have its own staff, its own director or anything like that. It does have one of the local parks one of the local rec centers would be its mother, its supervisor. Regrettably, it took me a very long time to find out who it was. And when I contacted that park, who I was told it was, that park director told me that she had never heard of Shaw Park. So I'm going to look up. One thing I didn't get ready today was the name of that park it was at. I'm sorry. What a
It's
dork.
Lauren Miller. It's Lauren Miller Park, right?
No, it's not.
You're kidding me.
It used to be.
It used to be.
That's why I went.
Isn't now. According to Lauren Miller, it's not, and according to Pacific Region, it's not. I'm opening it up right now. I'm opening the document where I have it written down on. Sorry, I'm such a dork that I did not have this beforehand. Dinker Park, D-E-N-K-E-R, Dinker Rec Center. It covers Leslie Shaw, and it's pretty close. If you look on the map, it's really not that far away from Leslie Shaw. But the lady who ran the park, the director, poor girl, she had no idea that she was in charge of Leslie Shaw. She had no idea where it was or has never heard of it. So she was going to talk to her supervisor to see if maybe that could be taken off her plate. This could be one of the reasons that we're having so much trouble getting responses to help build on the work that Sandra and the people that she was with beforehand got Shaw Park to where it is. But we still need it needs a little bit more love, it needs some more maintenance, and it needs some more cleaning. So that might be one of the reasons we're not getting what we need out of it.
Well, when I built relationships, it was Leslie Perez who was in charge of that park.
Right.
And when I was speaking to Raul yesterday or at the event, he said that he's a supervisor of over 108 parks. But I know for a fact when it comes to the cleaning part, that the park is cleaned every day. I see the truck out there every day. So what happens throughout the day is just like our houses, it's just hard to keep on top of it, but it looks a whole lot better than it was before. I never see it where it's out of control. There may be some trash there, and I used to bring my kids up there every day, daycare. I've never seen a park where it's just totally out of control, full of trash. Never. That's my 2 cents.
Sorry, I can't raise my hand because I'm not on camera, but the people I've been dealing with, whenever there's an excessive amount of graffiti or trash, or maybe a lot of the landscaping hasn't been taken care of in a long time, or the part underneath the structure is really needs a heavy wash, I usually email Bill Lopez, and I CC Guillermo Lopez and Raul Leon. And
Raul.
That's when I email them directly, I get a response usually immediately. I don't know if they're still in charge, but Bill is really good about emailing me back, and they usually try to get it done within the week. And yes, there are, Sandra is right, there are crews there every day, but I don't know, just if sometimes things get, they do have so many parks, and so a lot of things get overlooked or just don't get the attention. And I know they have different crews for different things. For graffiti, if there's an excessive amount of graffiti, they have to get a different crew in there and that kind of thing. So that, I don't know if that's not who I'm supposed to go to, but that I have been going to them over the last couple of years at least, and I usually get a really good response. So that's my sort of go-to.
Bill sent a message to me because he couldn't make today's meeting, and he gave the phone number to call to report any issues. And that I'm going to put the phone number in the chat. It's the South area. Yeah, I'm going to put it when someone else starts talking about where you're supposed to contact if you have any issues. And I know, like I say, I know it's better now than it has been in the past, but there's nothing wrong with us keeping at it to get it to even be better. I know there's been complaints about, and I went up in the tower myself to see if I had felt it as well. Complaints about smell of human waste inside the tower, and I did smell urine when I was up there. So I believe that indeed is happening, and I did smell a whole lot of cigarette smoke. Laura, you had a question?
Well, I have my hand up because as a host, I can only raise my hand. So I do want to tell everybody, if you want to raise your hand, you don't need to be on video to do so. You do need to be on if you're on the computer, just click the word participants on your Zoom screen, and it not only brings up the names of everybody who's here, but at the bottom, there's a function called raise hand, and your little blue hand will raise, except unless you're Dorit or Laura, because we can't raise our hands that way because we are hosts. And then my question for you, Dorit, and everybody, since the park that's in charge doesn't even want to be in charge, as it were, or rec center, does it make any sense to try and transfer the in charge rec center to one that's in Council District 10, since this park is in Council District 10? Because I don't know how effective we would be as a neighborhood council, or even the neighbors, trying to advocate for this park with a council office that's not our own. Am I saying that right? Because whether it was Lauren Miller or Danker Park or who knows.
I have no ability to do that. Does anyone from Rec and Parks want to say if there's a possibility to do that?
Kimberly has her hand up now.
Oh, go ahead, Kim.
Yes, so definitely I will check into that tomorrow. I know that our department has just gone through some I want to say configuring of different districts. And so we've tried to align the districts in the Pacific region with the CD office. So your suggestion sounds really good, but I'll speak to management about that, and I can get back to you about that as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Kimberly, I'm so happy you're at tonight's meet. I'm so happy you're at tonight's meeting.
Well, thank you.
Very happy. Did I see another hand up? Okay, I must imagine this. Okay, let's see. Donna has written 2 letters, or has been on an email campaign to try to get Leslie Shaw, to get more attention at Leslie Shaw Park. And I thank you so much for doing that, Donna. We did have a couple of months ago, this committee was going to write a letter to CD10 and to the Rec and Parks Department. But I really think that I would still like to do that, but the people who were going to write that letter are not on this committee anymore. So if we want to try bringing that up again, we can. But frankly, I kind of feel what Donna did to start the ball rolling is kind of done what we were hoping that letter would have done. So I'm stumbling over my words. I apologize for that. If anyone doesn't mind, does anyone have anything else to say about what we should be doing with Leslie Shaw or moving forward with Leslie Shaw?
I did a couple of drive-throughs. I drove around with Mary Jones. We went to Leslie Shaw. So she saw exactly what we were talking about, including the alleyway behind there where there are people camping and all the trash is. I reached out also to Nicole Butler, our neighborhood prosecutor, who did a drive-through with me, and we stopped at Leslie as well and looked at the trash, and we talked about the situation. The cleanup crew is definitely, Bill Lopez is amazing, and everyone who has talked to him, I know you know he's wonderful. He has reached back. We also have an ongoing senior lead who's visiting the park daily. I have his name and number if anyone wants it. But he comes from 77th. I'm kind of wondering why, but he comes out, he goes through the park, does a walkthrough at least once a day and checking on whether there's any paraphernalia or any other behaviors that need to be addressed. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Thank you so much.
I have one just quick comment. We love Leslie Shaw Park. We take our daughter there every single day. We live really, really close. It's a wonderful park. The reason that I got invited to this meeting was just because I asked a question in the Jefferson Park Historic Group about shade and just trying, just seeing what we could do to maybe get some more shade at the park, especially last year when lots of people were going to the park when it was so blasted hot during COVID and all the heat waves. It was one of the few places that we could actually go and take our kids. And there's two spots, one under a tree and one under one of the playground equipment that people huddle under for shade. And so that was my question, is just, who would we need to talk to, or who would need to get the ball rolling about just getting some more shade there was my primary concern. But it's a wonderful park and we love it.
I'm really happy you love it. There's nothing like a park to raise your kids at. If no one will mind, I'd like to let the Rec and Park folks talk to us about park advisory boards. Go ahead.
You have two hands up still for Shaw.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I have three hands up now. So let's do Sandra, then Kim, and then Kristen.
Okay, when it comes to the trees, it takes 10 years for a tree to mature. So even if they were to put a tree out there, we wouldn't have any shade for 10 years because you can't plant a giant shade tree. So once again, the community considered all of that when we took into consideration the park and the shade. Benny Potter Park has a lot of shade because how old are the trees and how old is the park? So, and people wanted to put some shade. We had other ideas of how to get the shade, but when it comes to trees, yeah, it's going to be a while, even if they put more out there.
Cool.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Kim?
I don't know which.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Kim O'Malley.
Sorry, Kim O'Malley here. Yeah, I was wondering if they could just put up like a central one of those umbrellas, or at least as a parent, I always get frustrated when there's no shade by the swings because somebody has to push those swings, and oftentimes that somebody is like roasting in the sun, right like behind the swings. So yeah, that was a concern, is there's a wide open space in the center of the park, and that's great. But if they could construct one of those large umbrella-y somethings to throw a little bit of shade around that area, that would be
Cool.
preferred. Yeah.
We'll write these as suggestions. I don't, and yeah, we'll write them as suggestions and make some notes of that. Miss Kristen and then Miss Lizzie, and then we really need to get on to some the PAB subject.
Okay, my last comment, and then I have to go anyway. But pre-COVID, we talked about at some of the safety meetings, we talked about the tower a lot because you know that there's always, the tower has been sort of an issue for a long time, but the kids, of course, that's their favorite thing, is the tower. And we talked about possibly trying to get a light, like a solar light that would, heat up during the day, but then shine down into the tower at night. So it would maybe, so people, discourage folks from getting up there and sleeping or smoking or doing whatever else they are doing up there. So I don't know, that was something that was mentioned several times, but, lots of things happen and it's lots of, there's bigger issues, but now that there's a committee that's specifically designed, maybe that's another issue that we could go back to. So that was my biggest thing. And we also talked about putting more fencing along the sidewalk street between the library and the park, but I don't know if that's really doable, just to kind of keep, I don't know, just to sort of separate a little more. But the light seemed to be the most doable thing or something. I don't know, but that's my 2 cents. And like I said, Bill has been so great, so much so that I invited him to come talk to my kids' preschool class about Parks and Rec, and he is really great. But I think too, they're just a little bit overwhelmed, and it could really use some help. The landscaping could just use a big cleanup. There's just so many dead leaves, and under the dead leaves are a lot of trash, and under the trash, it just kind of is a ongoing thing. But that's my 2 cents, and I'm happy to help in whatever way. Every time I go, I take my official vest and picker upper and bucket to clean up trash, but it takes me the whole time we are there, for an hour to clean up. But it's still, it's so close to us. We love it. All of our neighbors love it, and so I'm happy to help in whatever way I can to do make it even better. So
Beautiful.
That's all.
So Liz, and this will be the last thing for Leslie Shaw Park this evening.
Yes, very quickly. I wanted to relay the message from David Saffer. He's also a resident of Jefferson Park, and he took the time to post a comment in our conversation thread on the Historic Jefferson Park community page. So I wanted to read his comment verbatim for the Rec and Parks representatives who are present today. The park originally contained more trees, particularly toward the front corner near the library and Jefferson. For whatever reason, they didn't survive the first couple of years. I mean, young trees need a lot of maintenance. Apparently that didn't happen. But the important thing is they were never replaced, as Sandra Pruitt points out. They should look back at the original landscape design and at the very least, replace the trees that have died over the years since the renovation. And that is David's comment. And I guess also we could also look into maybe canopies, the very cool, nice canopy shades that are now very trendy. So that would be another alternative, I guess, for shade. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. All right, I'm going to hand it over now to Melissa and Kimberly from Rec and Parks to talk to us about Park Advisory Board. Before I hand it over, I want to say that I was on a Park Advisory Board when my kid was little at Bellevue Rec Center in Silver Lake, and I have to say the Park Advisory Board got a whole lot done. Really fought the gentrification that was going on and wanting to take over the park to make it sure it was for the kids that were there originally. So I have to say Park Advisory Boards can get a lot done. Now I will shut up and hand it over. So Melissa and Kimberly.
I believe Melissa's gonna take your finger.
Sorry, I had myself on mute for a second. My dog was barking. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm excited to talk to you about park advisory boards. That in the year that I've been with the city, it's definitely probably my favorite group to work with. And our park advisory boards are a huge, huge asset to our parks. And they are in just that, an advisory board. So they are helping our parks to do some park maintenance, whether it's to put together a, hold on one second. There, now I can actually hear what I'm saying. And so they are there to help with park cleanups. So we have them putting them together. So at some of our larger recreation centers and even the smaller ones, that they will be in charge of planning the event. So it's doing some advertising and doing some, like actually like helping the center to gather supplies and then actually getting people out there that day to clean up. Other rec centers will use their park advisory boards to enhance programming at the park, whether it's a Halloween celebration or something during the summer. Obviously, those are looking a little bit different right now just because we aren't fully able to gather, but as we move forward and things start opening up again, that is always a hope. Park advisory boards are made up of different constituents from the parks. So each board has typically parents of children that play at the parks. If they have athletics there, that there will be a representative from athletics, the neighborhood councils, maybe local nonprofits that are in the area. It is limited to one representative per organization, just so that we can make sure that we get a really diverse population on there. So in the event that you are interested in participating in a PAB, but there's maybe more than one person here tonight that's interested, that you can go to different PABs that are maybe within the area. Let me just pause really quick and see if there's any questions.
How do you get on the board and how many people are on the park board, advisory board?
It's typically between 5 and 9 for most parks. And it is, we do request that it's a 2-year commitment. And so how the process works is that anyone that's interested will go ahead, fill out an application, and they will give it to the Recreation and Parks staff members at that particular rec center. They then will bring you in for an interview. They'll see kind of what your interests are and if there's a specific need for your interests at that park, and then they'll go ahead and select their members from that. And then meetings are typically anywhere from once a month to once a quarter, just depending on the center. And you talk about all sorts of different things, whether it's park maintenance, programming, any concerns that the neighbors may have about the park. So different things going on that maybe they'd like to address. I know some of my more active PABs will actually send out letters of kind of position for different things to kind of help get their opinion known, maybe to the council office or even to the Recreation and Park senior level staff.
And who do we work with since we don't have a center in our area, as we discussed earlier? Who will we get in touch with in regards to this advisory board?
I am happy to be your point person on that. And so I'll put my email in the chat when I'm done. I'm not very good at like the whole typing and talking at the same time without
Me neither, girl, don't
stopping
worry.
for a second. So I'm happy to be the point person on that to help connect you with somebody. I know that there was some confusion as to who oversees the parks that you're speaking about tonight. And we have had some movement, just people have been promoted, people are moving to different parks as we're reopening. So some people maybe are not as familiar yet just because they're still familiarizing themselves with their new center. But I will definitely make sure that you get a good point of contact and that we can start working towards getting a PAB either up and running or revitalized. That many of these centers have PABs that have just kind of gone dormant during COVID just because we haven't been able to meet. There hasn't been as big of a need for them, but we're definitely really excited to get them back out there and working again.
Okay, thank you.
Melissa, this is Dorit.
You're very welcome.
My understanding is our local rec center, there's only one rec center in the UNNC footprint, and that would be Benny Potter, does not have a PAB right now. And I'm also as I understand it, the other rec centers that may or may not cover Leslie Shaw Park also do not have PABs. Could you tell me, is that assumption correct, or am I mistaken?
I actually would have to do some digging on that.
Melissa, I'm gonna step in on that. That there is not a PAB board at the South Sea House or Benny Potter. So the director there would now have to be the one to get that started over at the South Sea House.
Okay.
So is there a way, Melissa, that we could, because I'm both of our parks, which would be Leslie Shaw and Benny Potter, there's community desire to have more input, and I'm sure we could have a PAB filled, but how do we get the director at these parks to install a PAB? Do you have to talk? Do we send you the information and you speak to them, or how does it work?
I definitely think that I could be a point person to get the ball rolling on that, and then I would go ahead and talk to the director in charge at that particular rec center, as well as the recreation supervisor for that district. And then we can talk kind of about how they want to move forward and just kind of take it from there. That I know the person that I was talking to at South Sea's house before was really excited about the potential of having a PAB. I'm not sure if that's the same staff person that was there a few months ago, or if there's a new staff person, but that's something I can definitely look into.
Cool. And once Miss Kimberly figures out where Leslie Shaw, what rec center Leslie Shaw Park belongs to, then we will ask that rec center about a PAB.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Laura's waving her hand. You muted, Laura.
Anyway, sorry, I was waving my hand because I don't have a little blue thing. Dorit, I don't think we should jump too far ahead. There have been conversations regarding South Sea's house and a PAB multiple times over the years, with the conclusion from the community consistently being they don't want one. And Donna might jump in on this, but I'll explain why. And that is because back when all the funds were raised in the community for the benefit of the South Sea's house and to advocate to have it restored and reopened, the community spent a lot of funds, and I'm going to say close to $18,000 on furnishings and the linoleum floor and the first round of the ADA compliant carpeting, and the community being two different funds. One was a fund with a 501c3 and also the avenues. And then the Parks Department started moving the furniture to other locations. So the antique dining room table, I don't know where it is, but it's not at the house. And then we were told that if we raised funds, that was swell, raise funds through the PAB, but that the funds would go to a centralized location and may or may not be spent in our park. So at that point, the conversations about having a PAB at South Seas and Benny Potter stopped. I think Leslie Shaw is a completely different situation because it doesn't have a sort of related 501c3 with a fund, you know, that South Seas House does have. And I don't know if Donna wants to jump in or not, but I think we need to not make this sound that like everyone already wants it, because I'm not sure that that's the case for South Seas.
Also, I go along with what Laura says. What happened before, we were doing a lot of things with Benny Potter years and years ago, and the South Sea Center, and decisions were being made away from the community and the people that were actually there. We came together to support South Sea's director and supervisor as a quality of life committee for our community. And we were able to bring funding for activities during the summer activities. We helped with food, we helped with volunteer activities and such. and the groups that support that particular house. Because of what happened, we weren't getting anything out of it. We were putting things into it, and then we were overruled. Furniture, things that were put into the house, as Laura said, were just said, this belongs to Recreation and Parks, and we can do what we want with it. And they did. So therefore, we decided no more of that.
Right, let's let Melissa finish.
I mean, any other questions for me? That was kind of my real quick overview on what a park advisory board is. So I'm happy to answer any questions anybody has.
No, it doesn't look like anyone has any more questions.
Well, can I ask one more thing, Dory? If you have a park advisory board, is it able to help fund things like the annual night out on crime and the movies in the park at Leslie Shaw? Or, I mean, what is the connection between funding of events and a PAB? Because I will add to what Donna said, you know, for example, we also paid for, at South Seas House, there was used to be an annual Easter egg, wasn't real eggs, Easter egg hunts, and we would buy the candy and stuff it into the plastic eggs and, you know, help support in little ways as well as big ways. But we wouldn't have been a PAB. So are PABs able to help fund events?
It is my understanding the answer to that is yes, but if anybody else in Parks and Rec or Rec and Parks would like to jump in on that, I'd appreciate it.
And that is a yes, definitely a yes.
Kimberly, you have books available, the little PAB book?
Yes, I do. I have books available.
I think if you guys read those books, you know, they help you, they tell you more about what the PAB is and how it should function. I've seen a few. There's a really strong PAB at Pan Pacific Park, and it's been around for a really long time. And they help with everything. And when you need funding, they help. They need stuff made, they help. They're always on meetings with the council district. The neighborhood council goes to the meetings. I mean, it's a pretty strong PAB board there.
I know that the PAB I was on, we were able to get Rec and Parks to get rid of a really, really sweet but extremely ineffective director and have her replaced with a not so sweet, but very, very good, you know, get things done director. We're able to make sure that a very beloved rec center employee was not transferred, you know, to keep him there at that site. We were able to get lights installed that the neighbors didn't want installed. And a lot of things we were able to do that we weren't supposed to be able to do, but the PAB was able to get it done just through the strength of being a connection to the Rec and Parks and basically because there was like 5 moms on it that just were bulldozers and just got stuff done. So I have to say PABs can be very, very helpful in making sure Rec and Parks does what it's supposed to do and doesn't come steamrolling over the park itself. That's just been my experience. Sandra.
Okay, one more thing. I just want you guys to know that Leslie Shaw Park is my baby. And if we decide that the community wants to have a PAB, I want us to remember that we need to continue to be inclusive. I am very, very concerned with taking over these boards coming up in the area and then people feeling a little too entitled and forget about the residents who have been here forever, like I said, who fought and struggled to have everything that we have. Right. So I just want us to, I think it's more important that we build relationships and, you know, instead of just a few people trying to quote unquote run the show, build more relationships. We had Jefferson Park safety meetings where we discussed the park. We had the park rangers come out. We had the supervisor of security for the park rangers. And, you know, we built relationships with them and also with our senior lead officer. But in the, you know, pandemic, it changed all of that. But once again, I want us to stress building relationships, not just looking out for our new neighbors who moved here, who decide that we need what they need. Let's concern ourselves with everybody. And another board, because people that live here have new people that have moved here have called the police on people in the park for assuming things that weren't true. And sometimes the more power people get, the more they do that. The more rules we start to have, realistically speaking, they hurt the people that have been who lived here the longest, So I just want us to be careful about these boards. Please remember, Leslie Shaw Park is our baby, and we strive for years to get things done.
Well, I don't think there could be a PAB without you. There'd have to be. I mean, I've heard when I first joined this committee, was asked to chair this committee. I heard of all the great things you did before me. So yeah, it couldn't happen without you. Does anyone does anyone else have questions for Melissa about starting a PAB? And Melissa, can we get those books, the PAB books, so we can pass them out to everyone virtually on this committee?
Yes, I have a PDF version of it. I just need to find the most recent one, and I'll send that to you via email, and then you can distribute as requested.
Super duper. I think I have everyone's email, and if I don't have your email, I'm sure somebody else has your email and I'll get it. So I will share that with everybody. Does anyone else from Rec and Parks want to talk about PABs and the benefit of them? Miss Sharon or Miss Kimberly or anyone else?
No, Melissa did an excellent job.
Yes,
she did.
Yeah, I just think at the South Sea House, you have a very new director there. She's been there less than a month now. And, she's going to have to first take care of her summer program and her programming before she really starts to work on PAB boards.
If a PAB is needed and wanted.
Yes.
Also,
Cool.
just to kind of reiterate that not only there with that particular director or any director that you're going to be working with, they're all doing summer day camps right now. So that's their primary function right now. We've got to make sure that we do that and do that well.
Yes.
And probably nothing would happen anyway, well, until after, because I'm not going to do anything until after summer's over. I'm too busy as well. So if anyone decides they want to have a PAB or any of the rec centers, I'm sure it wouldn't even happen until September. Anybody else have anything for Melissa or about PABs they want to ask?
And actually, I'll just throw in one more thing, that it will take about that long, because once we get the PAB started and the members are actually selected for the board, they do have to go through the volunteer vetting process with the city. That includes them doing the live scan and the background check. So that usually takes a little bit of time. So I'm guessing that September to October probably would be about the earliest that we would be able to get this off the ground. And that's if we're able to get that PAB fully kind of sat prior to that.
Well, heck, we wouldn't even start thinking about it until September or October. So we're talking next year then, and that's fine.
Okay.
Cool. So the next item on our agenda is highlights and guidance from Rec and Parks leadership. So there looks to be 4 people from Rec and Parks on this phone call, on the Zoom call. So we'd love to know what's going on. We heard that, yes, indeed, the summer camps are up and running and in full swing, and that's great. Anything else that the public should know about LA Rec and Parks and moving forward for the next couple of months?
We're starting Universal Plays coming up, and all the programs for that are $10. South Sea House is offering a couple of programs. She'll put it out. She was going to give them to the neighborhood council to post for her. And that's throughout the city, not just at South Sea House. And then after that, we're going to have track and field starting at some of the parks, and also what's our last one? Universal Play, summer night lights. That's some of the parks where the evening, they'll offer programs for teens, and that's a free program. So there's a lot going on. We're just getting ourselves off the ground, but I believe she'll start sending you some flyers to put out and post in the area.
Super duper. What's Universal Play?
It's funding that we have from the Olympics for 2028. And so they're giving funds where every class that they do is like $10. And they're all like sporting classes that go towards what the Olympics are.
Okay. And I'm assuming they're for kids.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else from Rec and Parks want to give us some good news, bad news, and different news?
I just want to add that we also have our pools that are opening, that have opened.
Oh, yay.
So for recreation swim and team swim lessons. So you can go to the laparks.org website to check out the pools that are open right now.
Is there social distancing or anything like that in the pools, or can we just go bananas like we always had in the past?
No, I think they are limiting the number of people that go in that are in the pools. So you can find all that information under our website.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much. Does anyone have any questions for the Rec and Park folks who were really kind to come to our meeting tonight? Anybody have any questions, community members? I think everyone asked all their questions from the beginning. All right. Spreadsheet. We developed a spreadsheet about actually, I do have a question for Rec and Parks. Quimby funds. How can we find out how the Quimby funds are currently being spent on our local rec centers and parks? Is that anything that the Rec and Park people can answer for me? Or just give me a place to look? Okay. I get it.
I can get back to you tomorrow.
Wow, thank you so much. I really would appreciate that. I'm just taking notes. Thank you so much. So we put together a little spreadsheet. This committee has been reborn, has only been in existence since September, but we've gotten a few things accomplished. So we do have a spreadsheet of some of our accomplishments. And Laura, is there any way you could let me share a document?
Oh, yeah, if you have the spreadsheet up on your computer.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so if you click on the word share screen at the bottom of the little black screen on your computer on the Zoom call, it says green, it says share screen.
Oh, duh, there it is.
And then if your document is open, you click on, yes, there you go.
Okay, so here are some things that, oh, fudge, that's the wrong one. How do I unshare?
Oh.
This is the roster. I didn't mean to do this one. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay,
okay.
It's at the top.
Did you get it?
Okay, I think I did.
You've now moved, yes, you've moved to somewhere else.
Okay, so let me go back. Oh gosh, guys, I am just really should not be allowed to, there are accomplishments. There we go. So this is some of the accomplishments that this newly reborn committee has been able to do. I don't know how to, I really do apologize that I don't really know how to deal with Zoom. Can you guys see this document?
We can see it.
Beautiful. I'm trying to scroll back to September because there's a couple things we did in September.
So just scroll like you normally do on the document itself, if you can.
Go to the side, right-hand side.
Right side. On the right side, there's a little scroll bar, I think.
You seem to have it split. So go to the far right-hand side.
Okay, actually, this is the first one. The missions and goals statement. We started that. Hi, Greg. We started that in September, and we were able to finish it by January. And then a lot of other things that we were talking about. We had actually, I'm gonna let you guys read it. I'm gonna stop talking. But I'm gonna let you guys read. And tell me if you need me to move it up. So as you can see, there's some things we want to do. And that's going to be, they're not actively being addressed, but they were brought up at our different meetings. So hopefully this committee, moving forward, will be able to address some of the other things that were brought up at different committees. I did put this on the agenda, but I don't think people were able to click on it because I do not know how to use Google Docs. So I'm gonna take this off. And then could you share the minutes, Laura, so we could approve the minutes?
No, because I was unable to access your Google Docs myself, unfortunately, so I don't have the minutes.
Yeah, I really should not be allowed to be a co-host with the way I'm able to do
So
Google Docs.
either so it would be okay if you table the minutes and then we can figure out how I can gain access. Oh, there you go.
Well, here's May.
Okay. Or
So
that.
if you were at the May meetings, I'm gonna go this very slowly and let everyone take a look at it, okay? Move up a little bit. Sorry. If everyone's had a chance to look it over, if you were indeed at the main meeting, we can take a vote on it. Does anyone want to move to take a vote? Or does anyone have any corrections first? Does anyone see any issues that need to be fixed?
Raising hand. I see Arian Sanchez will be the new supervisor at Benny Potter Park, but
yes.
Is that a maintenance supervisor or director?
Director, my bad, thank you.
Well, no, I don't know that it's your bad because we have a different person on the call. Right.
No, Benny Potter is with the South Sea House, which is Arian.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
right. Okay,
Yeah. So
cool.
director.
So that's my bad, Dorit, not yours.
No, it was mine. I thank you for pointing it out. Does anyone else have any corrections they see? Did I spell your name wrong? Did I give you a new last name that wasn't one that you were intending to have? Any mistakes anybody sees I can fix right now? If not, could I have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Does anyone want to second Donna's motion?
I second it.
Who was that?
Sandra, sorry, Sandra seconds.
Okay, Sandra, you weren't at the meeting, so can someone who
Oh, I
wasn't at the
can.
meeting
That's
second
right.
it?
All
No.
right, Laura will second.
But thanks
Dory,
for-
do you want to correct Sharon and I our name? Do you want me to?
Correct.
Yes, I would love that. Let me look at,
It would be Chinyere. You have an O-R-E?
okay, let me, okay. I'm gonna take it from your email, okay?
Okay, and then Sharon's last name is misspelled as well.
That, I was able to see your name there, so yes, I will,
Okay.
I will fix this.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
guys.
No worries.
Sorry. Okay, so those are all the two people, sorry, Donna's moved that we approve it, Laura seconded it. If you were at
Yes,
that.
as amended.
As amended, how many yeses?
Yes.
Okay, actually, how about this? Does anyone who was at that meeting object to the way these minutes are? I'm trying to figure out how to, got it.
You have 3 yeses. I think you'll have 3 people present that are
Cool,
here
thank
today.
you. I'll do myself as well. Okay. Let me see if we can approve the April minutes, and the April minutes are really long. So sorry. And I am not seeing my April minutes on my, let's see if this works. I'm so sorry, I'm talking to myself, what a moron. Yay, there's the April minutes. So I'm gonna go slowly. And everyone can review who was at that meeting.
Lower, please.
Lower? Sorry.
Yes, no, slower, slower.
Oh,
slower.
sorry. Hands up.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Can I move up now?
Yes, please. Oh, you're right. These are long.
All right. I was in a good mood of note taking that day.
Good for you. Okay.
All right, so there's 4 people present tonight that were at that meeting: Donna, Greg, Laura, and Sharon.
Laura
And myself.
apparently excused herself right away and went to another meeting, if your minutes are to be trusted.
Yeah, but you did come back though, didn't you? But
I don't think so. I mean, I would have had to come back to turn off the meeting, but.
All right, so then only 3 of us. So Donna, Sharon, or Greg, do any of you want to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
And I second.
Okay, so actually there's 4 of us because I'm gonna count myself too. Does anyone have an issue with these minutes?
Can I say just something that caught my attention is that.
Yes, please.
Way at the top, Teresa Masonette was present, but you've got it spelled as if her first name was May and her last name was Sonette.
You are so right.
So it's Teresa Masonette.
Thank you so much for pointing that out. I appreciate it. Is there any other errors that people notice? Glaring spelling mistakes? Well, no one is speaking up. So of the 4 of us who are eligible, everyone who agrees that we should approve these minutes, say aye.
Aye.
One second.
Go
One
for it.
second. Isadore is Isadora with an E, not Isadora. Just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm always going to make spelling mistakes, so I really appreciate when people point them out.
It's not a problem, Dorit. You did a fabulous job.
Why, thank you. But I like people pointing out my mistakes kindly, and you're always kind.
Oh, come on.
All right. Actually, how about out of the 4 of us, is anyone opposed to these minutes? Anyone say no? Okay, seeing none, I'm assumed that they pass. All right, let's go back to our agenda for this evening. Okay, so next month's meeting. Does anyone have any ideas, any topics you wish to discuss? So ideas for next month's meeting? With it, in addition to the ones that popped up today already?
You think maybe we might get I'm sorry.
Go ahead,
We
Donna.
might get a representative from one of the SLOs or police officers that are overseeing both parks. So whoever we could get.
They were invited. They did not show up.
Both slows.
Yeah, both slows were invited. So was 2 members of CD10.
Okay, good. All right. I'll work on, I'm gonna work on that. Once I know your date, I'll work on getting at least one slow, our slow, to be there, even if it's for the first 20 minutes.
Donna, if you're going to work on it, I'm sure you could get the whole entire police force here because you're amazing.
Probably
Okay.
wouldn't want them. Okay.
Lizzie has her hand up.
They're not.
Yes, just thinking out loud. So I'm thinking about Sandra's comments on how the community got together, and this was a very community force driven project. And I was thinking maybe we could also look into forming some sort of friends of, in the way that the library has their friends of I always get confused with it. The Jefferson Branch Library that has a name. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting that now. But yes, there's a Friends of the Library. So could we have something similar that could be just comprised of actual neighbors? So just a thought, just throwing it out there.
Bassy right.
That's right. Thank you. I always get the two confused, the library and the park.
Okay. Laura has her hand up, and then Greg.
Well, at some point, maybe not the next meeting, but I would love to have somebody come from the Normandy Park and talk about all of its programs, since so many of our stakeholders in the Angeles Vista and Harvard Heights neighborhoods, that's their local park, even though it's, 50 feet outside our footprint, because it's on Normandy and Pico. So it's sort of, but it's not an emergency, but it would be lovely to, because I think they're kind of major in terms of like sports and things like that. And
as
then
I told Marilyn at the last board meeting, that's on our agenda, but it's it's a little bit down from the agenda.
Yeah.
So it's on our game plan. We will get someone from Normandy Park eventually after we get other stuff cleaned up.
All right. Well, I wasn't trying to comment about how dirty or clean they are, but rather I meant the agenda cleaned up, and got it.
I don't want to put too much on this committee because I'll run away to the donut store and start, and gorge on donuts if I get too much to do. So we don't want to do that.
Okay, well that's my other thought, obviously, but I'm sure you're on top of this, would be a follow-up to the comments on the pocket park at Washington and 12th.
Ms. Kimberly was going to take care of that.
Right.
Okay.
But let's just double check it on the agenda next month. That's all I'm thinking.
Oh, definitely. So follow up
Yeah.
on Washington Irving Park. Okay, Gregory.
When the comments about the PAB, I think we should review what's sent to us, and we should also review the pros and cons of having it. In conjunction with that, the issue that Ms. Donna brought up about items being purchased or donated to a specific facility in our footprint. This may not be a Rec and Parks issue, but the issue of items being donated or purchased and then them being moved to other facilities, that is an issue that maybe other sections of UNNC should look into, because things should be donated and dedicated to a certain site. So my third item is that, can I keep going?
Oh, of course, sir. Yes.
We've spoken about the cleanup of the parks, the Leslie Shaw Park. And so if we could know the progress of that and the satisfaction of parents with that, and then the the idea of the solar light that was mentioned. That might be something we could follow up on, and then just have a briefing on like when do they do the grass and when do they pick up the trash? Just the preventive maintenance of that park to see if it is sufficient from the new people that are in charge of that. And this may be too much to ask for, but maybe just a quick brief, because it's a money issue, quick brief of the budget that's given to the parks for those issues. Because again, as Ms. Donna was mentioning, things were donated, but if the parks have the budget to do those things, then we don't want to spend other people's money if the park already has money to do those items. Those are things that in my head, based on what I heard tonight. And so, and then we also talked about the map that may have been sent to us of all the parks in our area, but if we could follow up on that. Or someone can remind me if I received the email but never saw it.
Nothing, I've never gotten a map to the parks. I wouldn't mind some help if anyone wants to take on, because there's just so much stuff for me to take on that I was not able to find out who I could contact about getting the map, with the exception of just going and Googling it. So I don't have that.
Okay.
I'll take that on. I will take on finding out, getting map or of the 10 in the area of the 10, or maps of, you'll have to give me a designated area.
I would think it's within UNNC footprint.
Okay, cool.
Hang on.
Holding on.
Laura, we can't hear you. Talk.
Okay, well, I'm not talking because Greg still has his hand up. But I think the map, there should be a map that has within the UNNC footprints, but color coded, and then the ones surrounding us that our stakeholders participate in, because I know for sure our stakeholders use the Normandy Park, the Queen Anne Park, and the Lauren Miller Park, depending on where they live, because we have such a big footprint.
Laura, do you want to help Donna do that map?
Absolutely.
Then? Okay, so Laura and Donna will do that map.
But with the agreement that we color code it, so the ones that are not in our footprint.
Laura, that'll be between you and Donna. Will make us a beautiful presentation.
Okay.
Make all the colors in the world. I love colors.
I think Sharon could just hit.
I'm going to the donut shop.
Sharon could just hit a button and
I'll
send it to
join
you.
You know, Greg, I have one, but it's not all colorful. It's just a gigantic map and you would have to highlight the area itself. It has
yeah, Laura and Donna, you guys could probably do this pretty easy, just to put together a map of all our local parks. It wouldn't be that big of a thing. I just couldn't take on another thing to do.
No, that's fine. Sharon, I'll email you direct. You'll send me some sort of map, and then Donna and I will figure out how to make it pretty and colored and just for the area we need.
I could color code it.
So I'll email you.
And then we'll all go to the donut store.
I like donut stores. Actually,
the Winchell's on Western, is that your donut store too? Oh, I love them.
Yeah. Except for I've just started going back there again after 16 months or 15 months of COVID. So
I couldn't have gotten through COVID without it. I'm going to say one thing about Pabs. I have to say, if there was a strong Pab, the rec and parks wouldn't have had the guts to actually take a lot of the stuff from the park. So the Pabs are good for defending the park and advocating for the park. So I think it's something we really should consider. Really strongly support the idea of having one. Enough of that.
You know what? It can be PAB, but you could call it Friends of as well, so that we have our own rules. They cannot walk in and do what they want to on our space. So I think you got a lot of people for Leslie Shaw who already want to be a part of that one.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, I think this is an ongoing discussion.
Yes,
it is, but Pabs were dissed earlier, so I had to kind of defend them as someone who's actually been in a very good Pab.
Don't take it as a dish. Just the fact that we want to be in charge of what we put where we sleep, we want to have some say so. Okay,
Yeah.
that's all I'm saying.
Well, then, like I say, if the PAB isn't right for one park or one rec center, definitely look into a Friends of. But there also could be a Friends of and a PAB.
Sure, you're right.
But no matter what, like,
Don't go
you've
to the
gotta-
donut
you-
shop.
there's
Doreen,
has-
it's fine.
I want to go to the donut shop. Donna, you want to go with me? I don't know what your donut shop is, Donna, which one you go to. Okay, this meeting is turned into fun, but I think it's gone downhill.
Okay, take care.
Well,
all right.
Doreen,
it
it
is-
has got, let me just say, there was a Friends of, that's where some of the money came from. And then there was a whole discussion of should it transfer to a PAB versus transfer to the other 501c3. And it ultimately was transferred to the other 501c3 because of the experience. It doesn't mean 20 years later that there could be a different experience.
Yeah, the PABs are good.
Yeah.
It is 7:57, so I say we close the meeting and everyone gets 3 additional minutes in their life. Is everyone cool with ending the meeting right now?
Good night. Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
Take care, everybody.
You're allowed 1 donut.
One or 1 dozen?
Oh.
I heard 1 dozen.
Wait. Before we're totally gone, Sharon, I do have a question that does relate to this committee too. Will South Seas House be open perhaps starting October 1 when the governor has continued to suspend the Brown Act, so we can do Zoom until September 30th. But right now it looks like starting October 1, we have to start meeting in person. So in the past, pre-you, Recreation and Parks Committee and the UNNC Planning and Zoning Committee and the city's HPOZ, we all met. So that's 5 nights a month, more or less, at South Seas House. Is that gonna be feasible again?
Yeah, I think it is. It will be.
But not, it wouldn't start before October. That's
Yeah,
for sure.
well, it can't until our protocols get lifted.
Yes,
Rec and Parks protocols.
all of the above, and the governor might change his mind, but right now he's saying September 30th.
And
So
could we have the Rec and Parks meeting at at that park as well at South Seas? Good.
Right, that's what I'm asking. So they had a nighttime, Gavin, he was paid to come in at night because he lives so close and unlock the door and babysit those meetings. And he would usually participate to some extent. But we'll talk about this in the future, but so I'm trying to figure out how we're gonna, all of us come back to life, as it were.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, everybody. Can
Thank
we
you.
call tonight?
Yes, thank you, Doreen. I'm sorry I took away 2 of the 3 minutes.
Thank you, Rec and Park staff, for showing up tonight. You guys are real wonderful.
Yes. Our pleasure.
Beautiful.
Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
Bye.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay.